Well, a proposal in Appleton could change where dozens of people sleep each night. The City Plan Commission unanimously approving a plan to open a new downtown homeless shelter. But this isn't exactly a new shelter, it's a relocation. The project, called Providence Place Shelter, would be located at 314 North Appleton Street. It would move an existing shelter currently operating at 404 West Lawrence Street, shifting services from one part of downtown to another. The shelter would be run by nonprofit Providence Promise, and they say they need a larger, more permanent space.
We wanted to find something that was in the downtown core area because that's where our homeless neighbors live and congregate.
It would serve up to 50 adults each night.
Shelter capacity is a significant challenge for us in the city of Appleton, like so many places.
The shelter is intended for people experiencing homelessness or waiting for other housing after leaving hospitals or jails.
And we're doing a service because if people are left out in the sub-zero weather, they're going to die. And these are our fellow neighbors, and we have to help them.
The approval comes with conditions, including required inspections, permits, and safety compliance before the shelter can open.
It provides people the potential to provide people with a safe and dignified place to be when extreme weather prevents them from being outside safely or being in another safe location.
Meals and hygiene services will be provided as well, with additional daytime support.
So people could come in, do their laundry, take a shower, maybe grab a quick bite to eat.
The building will need upgrades, including a commercial kitchen, showers, and a sprinkler system. The proposal now heads to the Appleton Common Council, where a final vote is required before any construction or operations can begin. If approved by Common Council on April 15th, Providence Promise says construction could begin as early as July, with the goal of opening by December 1st.